the Hatch Tribe 90-day sprint training, where we are going to build some goals and set some plans for Q4 2021. I'm Hillary Johnson, the founder and CEO of Hatch Tribe, and I coach and mentor entrepreneurs just like you. And the intention of this work and of these trainings is to help you build a more powerful, profitable, and purposeful business that allows you to live the life that you want and to really own and run a business that brings you joy and whatever other emotion you desire out of your life. And the truth is, running a business is not always easy, but we know that when we sit down and we really connect to our vision and what it is that we want to accomplish, and then set plans that help us reach those goals, it really paves the way for more clarity, for more alignment, for more intention in your business. And so the work that you're getting ready to do today is really important. Now, I want to say this, if this is your first time doing one of these goal setting workshops with us, that's cool. There may be some things that I talk about today that you've not done before, and that's okay. It's far more important that you're starting today and really thinking forward in your business as opposed to worrying about or feeling bad about something that you have not done in the past. And so just sit with that, embrace that. It's all good. We are going to build a really fabulous plan for your business for Q4 that's going to help you focus and reach your goals. So let's dig in. So the first place that we will always start when we do goal setting is a refresher of what the heck our goals were. So the first place I want you to start is looking at your 2021 annual business goals. So in the event that you set those and you wrote them down wherever they are, pull them out. And I want you to write them down here. Now you'll see that there's 5 focus areas because this is the way that we teach goal setting. So if you had more than that when you did your goal setting, that's fine. I want you to write them down. And the purpose of this is that repetition matters. You will often hear me say, don't create goals and go shove them in a folder. That's not doing you or your business any good or your customers or clients. So we want our goals to be visible, up front and center. Now, once you've got that done, I want you to come down here to the bottom of the page and actually build out your Q3 business goals. So whenever you sat down and looked at Q3 in your business, so July, August, and September, what did you intend to do? Now, again, if you did it before, awesome. If you didn't, I don't want you to feel bad at all. Maybe you had a loose focus around what you thought you were going to do, and that's cool. Write it down here, and then just know that moving forward, you'll be doing this a little bit more fiercely. So I'm going to zoom this out here and just say, go ahead and hit pause. Take the time to just complete this. It's not going to take you long to run through it. And when you're done, I'm going to meet you on the next page. Okay. Now we need to do a little alignment check. What you may have noticed in the process of writing down what your goals were is that there were some things you were like, oh yeah, I forgot that I said I was going to do that. Or, oh yeah, like we crushed that and actually moved on to some other things, right? So what I want you to ask yourself for all of these questions, and I'm just going to name off a couple here that are important. So the first one is, are you actively working on your goals every week in your business? And this to me is a good indicator of, are you actually using the goals that you set, or are you, like I mentioned before, like doing kind of lip service to goal setting and shoving those goals in a folder and being like, yeah, whatever, and then just digging into work every day? Now, some of the other questions here is like, are you posting them somewhere that they're visible? Are you sharing them with your team? If you have team members, and if you do they know how they contribute to the goals? So what I want you to ask yourself is each one of these questions, go through it. And then at the very bottom, I want you to give yourself just a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. How aligned are your daily actions to your goals? And by that, what I mean is when you're getting into your office every day and you sit down to do that work, are you operating your business in alignment with what you've set out to do? Or do you drop into emails, allow your clients to influence 100% of your schedule? Like, are they sweeping you sideways and in many cases not affording you that space and the time to work on the goals that you've set with intention for your business? So again, just take a little bit of time, complete these questions, and then when you're done, I'll see you on the next page. Okay, now we all know a very important part of running a business is that we need to understand our financials. And so what you'll see here are two little charts. The first one is going to look at Q3 specifically. And what we want to look at is what's the goal we set for the quarter, what were the actual results, what was the difference versus 2020, and what's your percent to goal. So when you have a moment, I want you to pull your financials. So if you're using QuickBooks or FreshBooks or whatever the case may be, go get your Q3 numbers. And while you're there, let's look at year to date and let's see how you're tracking on those things. And there's a few key metrics that we're looking at specifically here. This is a very top line report. We want to look at revenue, expenses, your profit, meaning the difference of those two, and your income. Now, for some of you, you may be paying yourself 100% of the profit. You potentially are not putting money back into the business. In other cases, you may be paying yourself something different than your profit because you're taking profits and pushing them back into the business, potentially investing in things that you need to grow into. So I want you to complete this part, and then I want you to ask yourself these questions here at the bottom of the page. The first thing is, which products or services or clients generated the highest revenue? And this is a really interesting one to look at because often you will find that you're surprised. Like, oh, wow, like maybe 70% of your income is made up by one or two products, or one client is making up 40% of your income. So it's important to look at those things as well as the next question, which is around which ones are generating the lowest revenue. And here what you may find is that there's things you're putting a lot of time and energy into that are not actually helping you grow the financial side of your business. So for example, you may have a client that makes up 10% of your total income, but they're eating up 50% of your time. So we want to be evaluating the products and services we're selling as well as the clients to kind of make sure they're in alignment, that the effort and energy that we're putting into them is also generating the income that we would want to see on the other side. Now, at the last question, we need to ask ourselves, based on the financials alone, so just looking at your numbers, what do you need to continue and what do you need to change? So there's probably some things that are working really well for you, and we want to call those out. You know, what are the products or services that are like really cranking it for you? And which ones are not? What are some things that you look at and go, wow, like this is risky for my business, or this is not really generating any revenue and we're putting a lot of time and energy into it. So let's capture that there. Now, when you're finished with that, I'll meet you on the next page. But again, hit pause and then I'll see you there. Now, of course, beyond the financials, there's other things that are really important in a business. And this particular worksheet is designed to help you call out some very important key metrics in your business, because these can show us whether your business is growing in healthy ways. Like, are you growing your audience? Is your audience engaged with you? So you'll see down the left-hand side some key metrics that are very common and popular to measure for most businesses. Now, to be clear, not all of these may pertain to you, and so if they don't, cross through them or delete them out of your sheet. But to the extent that they do, I want you to be measuring them, and we want to start by creating a baseline. Now, if you've been doing this planning with me all year, you probably set a baseline at the end of 2020, and that number you're going to measure against your Q3 results. So I'm just going to give you one example. So let's just use website average number of users, the first one. So maybe at the end of 2020, you looked at that number and let's say it was just 100. And you look at Q3 results and you notice you've got an uptick and it's now at like 150. So that difference versus your baseline would be plus 50, which is showing us some really positive growth. We have more users, in fact, nearly 50% more or 50% more coming to your site versus the 2020 baseline, which is great. Now, if you've never done this and you don't have a baseline, you're going to set the baseline today. And when you do this planning next time, so we would be doing it for the end of Q4 and we would be setting goals for Q1, you're actually going to use that baseline to then measure the growth. So there is some space at the bottom where you can add your own custom metrics. There may be things that matter to you and to your business that I don't have here, and so I'd encourage you to add those. And again, I just want to reiterate, if something does not pertain to you, get rid of it. So for example, if you're not using LinkedIn, it's not an active part of your strategy, cross these off. You do not need to be tracking something that is not meaningful for you and for your business, okay? All right, when you're complete with that, I will see you on the next page. All right, now let's dig into, again, some more of the important, what we would call qualitative data about what's working in our business. So we're going to dig into that business review, really looking at Q3, so July, August, and September, and asking ourselves some really critical questions that are going to tell us how are things going, right? So we're tapping in a little bit more into the gut, the intuition, the how we feel about things, without looking at the numbers. So I'm going to walk you through these questions and just take your time. So first up, I love for you to celebrate wins. And I want you to ask yourself, what are the goals and projects you completed and accomplished during Q3? And then even zoom the lens out. Like, what are you really proud of accomplishing so far in 2021? This is really important. Being able to look inside of our businesses and celebrate progress helps keep you motivated. So if you're focusing most of your time on what you're not getting done, what you're going to tend to find is you're not real excited to get into your business and to do more work. If you start filling up your cup here on wins, you'll notice you're far more motivated and far more inspired to do work. Second question is, what are you grateful for in your business? And expressing especially some self-gratitude for the things that you're doing to show up as the CEO in your business. So this is also important. This is part of what keeps us, mentally and emotionally enabled to show up in our businesses fully. And so, I want you to recognize that you're doing really good work every day, even on days when it doesn't feel like it, which underscores the reason for doing this so much as business owners. Next question, what is working well for you in your business and what do you want to continue? So again, maybe you're thinking about products or services or about your team or how you're showing up, or maybe it's a new process you've implemented that's working really well. Write those things down. And then the last question here is, are there any goals or projects that you've set for 2021 that are still incomplete? Maybe you never even started them. So if there are, let's capture them here. When you're finished with this page, I'll meet you on the next one. Now, we're going to continue this train of thought here, reviewing what's been happening in our business. The first question we need to ask ourselves here is, well, objectively and without self-judgment, why didn't you reach the goals or complete those projects? So the last question that we answered on the prior page was about goals we didn't get done. Well, all right, why? Don't judge yourself, but really, why didn't you do them? And then the most important question we then need to ask is, does it matter? So do any of those incomplete 2021 goals or projects still matter to you? If so, what are they? Because we want to call them out now because they may need to come into your goal setting for the rest of the year for your Q4 plan. But if not, are you ready to let them go? And we would typically use two terms here. So one is we want to kill them. Some goals or projects just need to be killed. Okay, it doesn't matter anymore. Why would I do this? I'm going to kill it. The other is back burner. And this is a goal that we can kind of look at and say, well, I do still care, but now's not the time. Maybe something shifted and changed in your life or in your business, and you just recognize it's important, it's just not important at this moment. And that could go to the back burner. So ask yourselves those questions. And then one other important question we do need to ask is, objectively speaking, is there anything that's getting in the way of you completing important projects or goals in your business? And here, what I'm really looking for you to do is to think about the things that are holding you up. Is it behaviorally something like maybe you answer all of your clients' emails and you're doing that first in the day and you're spending a lot of time following up with them instead of working on things that you need to do to grow your business? Or maybe it's that you're answering the phone every time someone calls, or maybe it's that you're in social media for an hour a day when you should be there for 15. So without judgment, I just want you to get inquisitive. What's happening? Is there anything? Are you afraid? Do you feel fear or doubt or anxiety or uncertainty about something in your business? Whatever it is, call it out here. And the last question here is, has anything happened in your business or life that would cause you to change any of your 2021 goals for the rest of the year? So, we've been building here from calling up what your 2021 goals are, to calling out the things that are not yet done and asking ourselves if we even care. But there's also this bigger picture of Has something shifted? And for many of you or us, COVID had an impact on our businesses. And that may be something that's causing you to need to change or to abandon certain goals because you weren't able to execute your business in the way you thought you would be able to. So call out those things here because, again, what we're building towards is setting those Q4 goals. And I want you to have a very clear picture of where you want to put your energy and effort, and also a clear picture of what you're ready to let go of, even if it's at least for now. All right, when you're finished here, I will see you on the next page. Okay, so we've completed the Q3 wrap up, like looking back and understanding what was happening, what we care about, what we don't care about. What I'm going to ask you to do now is just hit pause. Well, not pause the video, just hit pause mentally. Take a deep breath. Exhale it out. Okay. We're going to swing the lens to the other end. So we've looked back. Now I want you to look forward. And I've set a theme here because we're headed into Q4, and the theme is finish strong. So we're going to talk about your vision for the rest of the year with the context of, if you were to finish strong in your business this year, what would you do? Now you've piled up some data, like we've got enough, we've got in our goals, like we knew what they were, we've just done the Q3 recap. So knowing that and knowing where you sit at this moment in time, and with this idea in your mind that I want to finish this year strong, what would you do? What projects or goals would get your attention? What would you definitely put on the back burner so that you can super focus on those other areas? And what's that end result you'd love to see on December 31st? Like, what's something you'd be like, yeah, I'm proud of that. Like, I did that and I got that done. All right. So with that in mind, hit pause on the video now and complete this page. When you're done, I'll see you on the next one. Okay. So at this point, I think you're starting to get a pretty good picture of what the heck it is you want to do during these last 3 months of the year. And so what we're going to call this is your 2021 Finish Strong Goals. It's time to bring everything together and set some direction for the final 3 months of the year. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to set 5 focus areas. No more. Now, it is 100% okay if you have less than 5. So just want to say that now. But there may be things where you're like, yep, I need to start prioritizing and need to start looking diligently. Like, these are the areas that I need to focus on. This could be products and services. This could be something you need to do with your marketing. It could be sales related. But this is compiled from your understanding of your business and thinking about what that vision for a finish strong is on December 31st. So I want you to write down 5 areas that you're going to focus and think about time, think about energy, think about even money or resources that need to be invested in them. What are those areas that need your focus so that you can finish 2021 like a boss? And the last column is going to say something about timing. So there may be something that it's like, oh, it's only in December, or it needs to happen in October. So if that's the case, go ahead and write that down. All right. When you finish this page, I will see you on the next one. All right. Now we're going to continue to build out a picture of what finishing strong looks like. The next piece we want to tackle are the financials. So if you think about what a strong finish to the year would be, what's your Q4 goal, and where are we going to wind up for the total year of 2021? Set a revenue, expense, profit, and income goal for both of those. Now, with that in mind, it's really important that we have a clear understanding of how we make that money. So what we're zooming in right now on is revenue. So let's just use, for shits and giggles, $100,000. If you said, my goal for Q4 is to generate $100,000 in revenue. What I want to know is, how are you going to make that? Meaning, what are the products or the services that you are going to need to sell, and to whom in order to reach that revenue goal. And that's what you're going to build in that sales forecast section beneath this. So just working across here, the product or service, what are you selling? Maybe it's website design. Price to customer, $5,000. Target units to sell. So during Q4, how many of those are you going to sell? Let's just say it's 5. So the total revenue would be 5,000 times 5 is $25,000. So if my goal is to hit 100,000, I've got $75,000 now to figure out how I'm going to sell it among the other products and services I sell and or clients that I work with. Okay, take your time. And then the last question is just this is calling attention to the work that you've just done and noting which are the products and services that are going to need the most sales and marketing focus in order to reach your goals. So let me come back to the example I was just giving you. Let's just say, for example, that you are selling web design and you do not have anyone in your pipeline and you know you need to sell 5 website designs at $5,000. You know that you're going to need to put some fierce sales and marketing efforts behind that in order to close 5 of them in Q4. Right? So I want you to be thinking critically about whatever you say you're going to sell in that sales forecast. What are the things that are going to need a lot of your attention from a sales and marketing perspective, the products or services that will need the attention? Okay, hit pause, take your time to complete this. When you're done, I'll meet you on the next page. Okay. Now, we're going to start connecting even more dots here. So note before, when we were talking about revenue, I led you to a question of, well, all right, which products or services are going to need the most sales and marketing attention? And now's the time where we really want to start thinking about what are those sales and marketing activities that are going to make that happen, right? So sales and marketing are the only 2 functions in a business that drive growth. Without those, your business will not grow. Period. End of story. So that financial and sales forecast revealed what you need to sell. Now's the question of like, well, how are you going to sell it? So the first activity that you're going to do is just an open brainstorm. I want you to be thinking when you reflect on those sales or the products and services that need the most of your attention from sales and marketing, what are the activities that could help you do that? Open brainstorm. Drop in some ideas for sales, drop in some ideas for marketing, and just start filling this chart up. Now, I'm going to read you what you need to know at the bottom of this page and where you're headed before you do the activity. The thing we want to remember is that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your actions, and the same logic applies from sales and marketing. So as you go through this brainstorming exercise, you're not going to do everything that's there. But what I do want you to look for are the things that you know or believe could have the biggest impact in helping you reach your goals. So what you're going to do inevitably is look at everything you put in that brainstorm and narrow it down to a max of 3 activities that you believe from this moment in time could have the biggest impact on helping you reach your goals. And those activities, those 3 key focus areas are going to become part of your 90-day sprint. So that's where we're headed. So again, I'm going to zoom this back out. The first part of this is just brainstorm. Dump in all the ideas you have for sales and marketing, because even if you don't choose them now, they could still be really good, valuable activities for you to choose later. And then I want you to drill it down and land on 3 that you're like, if I do these 3, I believe that they will help me reach my goals in a bigger way than any of the rest of what's there. Okay? All right, take your time. And I'll meet you on the next slide. Now, beyond sales and marketing, there's lots of other important parts of your business. And one of them is your ability to develop yourself. We are called the CEO Collective for a reason. I am encouraging you to really think about yourself as the CEO of your business. 1, you are the CEO of your business, but 2, operating as a CEO is very different than operating as a tactician or being an employee in a job. And unfortunately, many business owners give themselves a job. They dump into tasks and they're burning and churning them every day and not really thinking critically about what it means to lead their business, no matter how many employees you have. And so what I'm going to ask you to do here is think about other areas that are really important for you to be developing as you build your business and you develop your CEO skill set. So I've put some areas of consideration on this left-hand side, everything from your offering, meaning like what are you selling, to your team, like the people that are working for you or potentially not yet. Your personal performance, like maybe you're really poorly managing your time or your emotional well-being is off and it's time for a therapist. Hey girl, go get you one. I've got one. Maybe it's tools or tech that's not working. It could be any of these, but look at them and just kind of assess how each of these areas are functioning for your business right now. And then I want you to choose two, only two, that are going to become part of your 90-day sprint. So in the next 90 days, you're going to deep focus on only two of these areas. And they're with intention, they're chosen to help you build a better business and to become a better CEO. Okay? So I encourage you, just take your time here and note what those two areas are, and then I will meet you on the next page. All right, it is time to bring everything together into a 90-day sprint focus. Now, I want to connect two important dots for you. Several pages ago, you set your 2021 Finish Strong goals. And then we led that all the way down the pipeline to think about sales and marketing activities that you need to focus on. We talked about CEO skills you need to focus on. So what we're getting ready to write here is how you're going to reach those goals. So you should find a direct link between that 2021 Finish Strong goals, like those focus areas and things you want to do in your business, and what you're getting ready to write down here. If you notice there's a big disconnect, go back and relook at it, okay? But what we want to draw out here is, from a sales and marketing standpoint, what are the three activities that are going to best enable you to reach those goals? You're going to identify what it is and then why you've chosen it. And what I often find is the why is really important. We're setting goals, like whatever today's date is that you're doing this process, in 30 days, you may question why you made that decision. And so the why becomes important to underscore your thinking at this moment in time of why you've chosen that activity. And we're going to work that down to the bottom into focus area 4 and 5, which are specifically around those CEO skills. So what are the two activities that would have the most meaningful impact on your ability to grow a strong, sustainable business, both now and into the future? And why did you choose it again? So take your time to complete this and pull together those activities. And then when you're finished, I wanted to just bring this up. I always print out like my 2021 Finish Strong goals. I would print that and I would print this page. And these two pages would go up on my wall so I can see those goals. So I'm seeing what I want to do and the how I want to get there. And the how is what's on this page. Okay? All right. Now, after you're done, I'll meet you on the next slide. Okay, now it's time to get a little more granular, and this is where we get into what I would call more of the planning part of this. We've set the goals, we have the direction, and now it's time to think like, all right, I feel you. So maybe you set a goal that said, I want to create a lead magnet with like a true lead magnet marketing funnel that's going to have multiple emails and a really fabulous lead magnet, and I'm going to run some ads with the intention of growing my email list. Okay, that's a fabulous goal that could be in anyone's business, right? So that may be that focus area. You're like, I want to, like, lead generation is the focus area. The goal is maybe to generate 100 leads with a really powerful lead magnet marketing or a lead magnet marketing funnel. And now we need to figure out how we're going to do that. So what we're doing in this next section here is really writing out the very specific steps or tasks that you need to take to get there. Now, I like to start this as just a loose brainstorm. So when I sit down and I think about it, I go like, all right, what do I need to do? So I'm going to give you that example. So I might say, okay, first thing, I need to brainstorm ideas for a lead magnet. I need to vet those lead magnet ideas with my audience. I want to choose the one that my audience is most excited about. Then I want to create said lead magnet. Then I'm going to set up the lead magnet opt-in page. You feel me? Okay, I'm going to stop there. By the way, all of that's in the Capture and Convert course if you need help with that, or just comment below and I'll send you the link. So we want to get granular and really write out the steps and specific actions you're going to need to take to get there. And then over on the right-hand side, once you've got those steps done, you'll see it says OND, October, November, December. So this is going to help you start thinking about in what month do you need to take action on that if you want it complete by, whatever the date is. So I encourage you just to start with the brainstorm, get all the ideas of what you need to do out first. Then come back and note the timing of this. And when you're done with all this, you may find you just want your project managed somewhere else. So like we use Asana to manage a lot of our projects, or I have spreadsheets where I also manage other work. So whatever you want to do, or you can keep it on this type of list and just check them off as you go. So you're going to repeat this for focus area 1 all the way through focus area 5. So there's 5 worksheets here. So 3 of them are going to be sales and marketing. 2 of them are going to be CEO skills. Okay? So take your time and do the brainstorm for each of those. At least get like 10 steps for each of these down on the page. Okay? Once you're done with that, and it doesn't have to be 10 for all of them, but I do want you to be thinking in small chunks. So if it looks like it's too big of a task to handle in an hour or 2, you need to break it down a little further. Okay? Now, when you're done with that, I'm going to meet you on the next page, the last page. All right. So as we're wrapping up today, I just wanted to, one, congratulate you. You've done it. You have a 90-day sprint plan. And, planning is important. Goal setting is important. There's a reason that I teach this and really evangelize it for business owners. You cannot build a really powerful business without having a plan. And if you do, it's not going to be very sustainable if you're not thinking about how these steps all link together. So it's critically important for us as business owners, and especially as you're operating like the CEO, that you've got a vision, that you know how to get there. You've set some goals and you're tracking them and you're making meaningful progress towards them. So key steps as we wrap up today is 1, put your goals up in a visible location where you're going to see them every day. This is important. We need to be able to see them. Do not bury them in a folder. That does not help you or your business or your clients, frankly, if you're not operating from your goals. Step 2, share your goals with your team. If you have anyone working with your business, even if they're just a contractor, they need to know what they're working on and how it connects to your goals and why it matters. Number 3, how are you going to make sure you're implementing those action plans? So I think it's important here to understand how you work, how you're managing projects, how you're staying focused on these very important projects that you've set and set with intention. So there's some ideas here for how to do that, but ultimately it needs to work for you. And that could have been an area that you've identified that you're not performing well, staying on track and on plan with your goals. And so if so, put some time in your calendar every day where you're just working on your goals. Next up, celebrate your wins. I can't say enough about this. It's critically important that we are turning our eyes towards the positive, towards the good. This keeps us motivated and encouraged and inspired to keep doing our work. And especially if you have a team, you want to be celebrating their wins with them because that also keeps them motivated as well. Next up, I want you to remember it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I know it's called a 90-day sprint, but the truth is every day counts, and work every day, methodically. You don't have to be in a rush. And you don't have to just check boxes. This is your life, and this is how you're investing the hours and days and your energy of your life. So take your time and just keep going. If you want it to be sustainable and something that's part of your life for the long haul, pace it out. And I want to ask you one last question. I want you to imagine that it's December 31st of 2021 and you've just reached your goals. How are you going to celebrate? I find that this is a fun thing to think about, is to think forward and imagine, really envision that you've achieved these goals. How are you going to celebrate when you get there? So write something down that means something to you. And then, of course, as always, we'll connect inside the CEO Collective Facebook group. If you're not a member there or you haven't joined us there, by all means do. And I look forward to working with you, alongside you throughout all of Q4 of 2021. So let's reach those goals and finish strong. All right, hope you have an amazing rest of your day and your week. and I'll talk to you soon.